Good morning. Good morning, you guys, and happy Tuesday. Can we come this way?
Yeah, why?
Because it's on a fucking like dead organ. Would much rather see books.
Yeah, do you want to see how well we take care of plants? Here, why don't we just show them?
Hey, I water it every single week.
It. Look at. But as we know, orchids lose their things.
Their mojo.
Look at those healthy. Look at those healthy things, though.
I know.
It's not that it's a dead orchid. It's
going
through a transition.
It's not as pretty as our basic bitch candle.
The flowers are falling off. It's not pretty.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Okay,
but now I'm at. Where am I?
Come.
Okay, let's happy medium it right here. Okay, great.
Okay, let's say good morning. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning.
And Andy and Brandy
and
Tiffany and Emily and Ashley
and
Ashley
Stacey.
Dawn. That's a new name. Ashley, if this is your first call, please announce yourself. Tell us where you're from.
Liz.
Good morning, Stacy.
And
good morning,
Ivy and Katie.
Good morning, Katie.
Why is everybody's name ending in that E sound? E sound.
And Ashley, you're so sweet. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Where are the Sarahs?
Good morning,
and the
Mackenzie. The Sarahs and the Rachels. All the Jewish girls. And I can make fun of all the Jewish girls because I'm Jewish myself. Wearing it loud and proud.
All the girls when I was in school were named Rachel and Sarah.
Maddie Klotzback. I think that's a new name too.
I believe
Maddie, if this is your first call, please tell us where you're from.
And welcome to the most organized and chaotic group ever.
Daisy, Joanne, Jose. Ooh,
Winnipeg, Canada.
That's like a big... Did you ever snowboard there?
No. I went to Whistler, though. I've been to Whistler, and it was like freaking -2 degrees, and I was like, ooh! My bones were cold.
Yeah, Canadians, I have a theory that you guys must be fearless because, well...
Cold-blooded.
I wonder if their fall has already started.
Maddie's in Oregon. Where? I grew up in Portland. Holla. Okay.
That's awesome. Okay, well, today's Q&A day. So we're gonna get right into it, but maybe we're gonna just do a couple housekeeping things. So in the case that this is your first call, or you haven't had a chance to check out yesterday's call, you guys for months have been asking about shirts and all these merch and fun stuff, and yesterday we finally were able to publicly drop it. So merch is now available, okay,
but not these yet.
These are not yet. We're gonna keep producing more and more with time.
We have to test things before they come to you, okay?
Yes.
So anything new that you see us have, sneak peek.
It will get to you with time. But thank you, Tammy. You already did your thing. ErinSarit.com. You can check out all of the cool stuff there. But let's get into today's question.
Yay, we have questions.
Oh, also, let's announce the winner of the In Motion Challenge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I did yesterday on the page, but let's officially do it here. We did 21 days in motion, X Endurance's In Motion Challenge. It was epic. People got to try new supplements that actually are freaking beneficial and change your life. And now we're not just trying to force you to take some fucking pills, saying you're going to lose 20 pounds in 20 days if you take this thing. Anyways, the winner of the $1,000 prize came from our community, which is what we were hoping for, which is amazing. And when I was first told, it was before I think it was posted publicly, and I freaked out. We were in the gym, and I was like, "You'll never believe who won!" And so we're really excited. Who was the winner?
Lauren W.
Lauren W. Congratulations, you won $1,000, and that's amazing. You can do round 2 and you can do round 3 and make yourself eligible also to win. You still do have to purchase the motion box sometime within your 21 days.
And you have to show up for 21 days.
And you have to show up for 21 days and just mark it each day in the app. So if you have more questions, reach out on the page. 1,000 people will be able to help you with that. But it's fun. So that was cool.
Yeah. One last thing with regards to housekeeping things, and speaking of challenges, we will be dropping our very own in-house challenge later this month. It is the 14-day transformation Kickstarter. Starting next week, we will start, really talking about it. For one, you guys can definitely benefit from it. For two, this is meant for your own community, to invite them so that they can start leveling up your life. Because if you're in this group, you know that you're going up, right? But the reality is that people who are currently in your life are either going to go up with you or you're going to detach from them. That's just how it works. Because, when you create changes in your life, you notice that, your standards change, the people that you want to surround yourself with, change. But if you have friends and loved ones who, need help, let's face it, I know that 99% of y'all do, then all you got to do is just share the link with them. It's completely free. It's super fun, super exciting. Every day looks completely different from one another. So it's exciting.
It's like a new challenge each day for 14 days. So it's not meant to be stressful. It's not meant to be like, oh, okay, give up your entire life. We're going to do 14 days, no carbs, and y'all are going to want to kill yourselves. It's not like that.
No.
It's fun. It's meant to be intentional. And to bring more people into this community who can see that we have the truth. If you believe we have the truth, if you believe we have actually the real long-term life solution, then please, we're going to ask a lot of you guys to share with your friends, because sharing is caring.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah.
I saw somebody ask a question about intermittent fasting. Today is Q&A day. We actually have a form on the announcements right at the top of our group page. And it's just a little form and it says, what's your name, where are you from, what's your question? And so those are the questions that we read off each week on Tuesdays, every Tuesday. So if you do have a question, the link does get dropped each week on Monday. However, it's there in the announcements constantly. So you guys will be able to find that and ask your questions there. Also, Brandy Martz is in the house, and tomorrow, I know for me is a very special day. I don't expect anybody to be there or really care, to be honest, but in case you do, and I know that several people have expressed excitement for the fact that I'm going to be on a TV show tomorrow, and it's actually pretty epic. It's like, if you could imagine doing an obstacle course with dodgeballs being thrown at you, it's pretty epic. And so that's tomorrow, which is Wednesday,
September 2nd,
9 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know, it's on the Discovery Channel, and it seems like everybody kind of has a different time. So for us, it's 9 p.m. on the Discovery Channel. Find it. It's called Dodgeball Thunderdome.
For East Coasters, it's at midnight.
I don't know. But I think Brandy's going to be doing a watch party. So Brandy, can you confirm what time that will be at for you? Because I'm not really sure.
For her, it's probably going to be midnight. Yeah. Oh, unless if you guys are on Eastern and it's at 9. I don't fucking know how the networks work.
I would love to watch 9 p.m. Eastern.
Me too.
That'd be amazing. Anyways, let us know. It's going to be pretty cool.
Okay.
9 p.m. East Coast. Oh, it's 9 p.m. Pacific time too. It's playing at 9 here.
Oh.
So I would so much rather just do the watch party and watch it at 9 Eastern. That would be pretty cool.
We would rather watch it from the Brandy Network.
I will look it up and post. Network Brandy.
Network Brandy. Brandy Inc. Okay, let's get to some
questions. Okay, first question we have today is from Tina Reby. We learned how to say her name. Reby.
Iowa.
From Iowa. what are your views on fasting? This is actually great because somebody asked about it. What are your views on fasting? Do it, don't do it, why?
Well, here's my question to you. What's the intention? What's the intention? Right? And you guys, this is why so many people struggle with weight loss, because they hear this thing about blah, 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 and this thing about blah, 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 and they think that this is what they need to do.
Shiny objects.
Right, exactly. Like, you get distracted. Like, what is your intention for intermittent fasting? I can only help but to assume weight loss. Well, then we need to ask you a number of other questions. For one, Tina, you and I, we had this conversation last week. So you're
and I believe this was submitted before.
Yeah.
She was in the inner
circle. So like, you know, fasting in Tina's case is not the ideal route, because her metabolism is already like completely like shot. And also like her relationship with food needs some improvement, right? And look, you guys, everything works if you work it. That's what it comes down to. Keto works, intermittent fasting works, right? You just have to, for one, ask yourself, what is my purpose for doing this? And why am I choosing this route? Also, the next question that you need to ask yourself is this. Can I do this for the next 10 years? If the answer is no, then don't you even bother starting with it. And that's why so many of you guys are struggling. Because you're looking for this magic. Guess what, you guys? You're the fucking magic.
You are the magic.
You're the magic. It's not because of intermittent fasting. It's not because of keto. It's not because of macros. It's because of you.
It's because you followed through or you didn't follow through.
Yes.
Every one of these shiny objects or these like fancy kind of strategies, for one, in the business industry, if you want to stand out, you have to be different. So one of the ways that people become different is they make up these fancy kind of diets or programs or regimens. I don't know how to say that word. It doesn't matter. And you know, then the way that they market it is very appealing. And so then everybody tries it. Everybody jumps on the wagon. They're like, oh my God, you know, Julie lost 40 pounds in 2 months from doing the whoop-de-doo diet.
Whoop-de-doo.
From doing the whoop-de-doo diet.
But whoopie pies.
Whoop-de-doo. Julie. And then, oh yeah, what we're not going to tell you is that because Julie couldn't sustain the whoop-de-doo diet, Julie gained back all of that 40 pounds plus another 15. Is that what you want? That's what's not marketed. So you have to ask yourself, what's the purpose? And is it something that I would want to do long term?
And you know what? I want to take it one step farther. When you guys go to sleep at night, do you wake up like every 2 hours to go eat? If not, each and every one of y'all are already intermittent fasting to some degree. Like, however, for women in general, okay, the reason why intermittent fasting is not ideal for the general female population is because females, you guys, you're too fucking attached to your food, right? It's like dating a really terrible partner who treats you like shit and you keep on going back to them. No, dude, like you need to work on you need to fix your relationship with food. And when you are taking more away from it, what happens is that later at night, you're gonna eat like a monster. So like, again, if you can't follow through with it for the next 10 years, then don't even bother. From, you know, my own personal experience coaching others, the intermittent fasting would be more beneficial could be more beneficial for somebody who is like extremely advanced in their journey and they're like, you know, I want to use it as a test.
I want to take it to the next level and see what.
Because if you're really advanced, you have no attachment to food. Like you could do this with your eyes closed. You're so disciplined. You could do this for 365 days and you're doing it simply for like, you know, science. But most women, for one, most of y'all, I don't care what you do, most of y'all are beginners. Because your relationship with food fucking sucks.
And the reason that we wouldn't only recommend it for somebody who's advanced too is because when you stop doing it, you're not going to go buck wild into some crazy shitty habits.
Yeah, you need to have an exit strategy.
If you haven't practiced what the exit strategy would be for long enough for it to be autopilot, then you're not going to successfully come out of anything like that.
Yeah.
So
for anybody who's looking to grow their muscles or that sort of thing, I also do not recommend it. Because it puts you on it exposes you to a greater deficit. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be at a surplus, but for the most part, your chances of being at a deficit is greater. Therefore, metabolically speaking, long term, is that ideal? That's questionable, right? But by the end of the day, this is what you need to ask yourself. What is my intention for doing this, right? Why am I considering it? And can I do it for the next 10 years? If you're like, then already like drop it. Like this is your ego trying to say, yes, I'm really great at things. I'm an A student. No,
yes,
dude,
I really want to do it.
You haven't followed through, right? Like,
and that's not to say that you have to do something the exact same way for 10 years. That's saying if you don't think you could, don't start there.
Yeah. Because
it's going to be too rigid. You're going to want to go out with friends at some point when you're supposed to not be eating and everybody's going to be eating and you're going to be miserable. Something is just, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. And with all these answers, there's always two sides to the coin. We're giving you the most common side.
Yeah.
And the more dramatic and passionate we get, the heavier that side of the coin is. Okay. Next question from Sarah Peace.
Oh.
In Pennsylvania. Okay. I have been having cramps, mostly in my left calf muscle. It's been a long time since it's happened. It woke me up at night, but recently, with this past week, it started again. I know that it's probably due to my increased activity, and I've been stretching, maybe not enough. What are some things I can do to ease this and maybe stop it from happening at all? Thanks, ladies. You rock. Hashtag Erin and EA Motion Takeover. She tried.
Yeah, that's in motion takeover. That's sweet. Well, it sounds as if you have some mineral imbalance. That's what it comes down to, right? And, what I would recommend is, maybe adding a little bit of Himalayan salt to your water. I prefer just taking the X Endurance Hydro Sticks for hydration. You might have some kind of like a magnesium imbalance. However, like the only way to know is a blood test. So I would recommend start with hydration. Also, you guys have to consider we're currently recording this, during the summer. And we know that Pennsylvania gets really hot and humid in the summer. So it could be the fact that, Sarah, maybe you're just not hydrating enough, right? So I would start with that. Make sure that you're, balancing out your electrolytes. If that still doesn't help, and don't do it for one day and say that shit doesn't work. Like, do it for at least 7 days, right? If that doesn't help, then maybe you want to try to, just maybe eat more magnesium-rich foods or, do a blood test. If you have a magnesium deficiency, then you will want to take magnesium. I know a lot of people who take magnesium who are not deficient. I'm like, you're actually wasting money and you're throwing it in the toilet because, like, if you have balanced levels of magnesium, you don't need more than that. You're just going to pee it out.
Right. And then the other thing is, too, with stretching, like, depending on the amount of activity you're doing, if you're doing, every day or 5 or 6 days a week of intense activity where there's a lot of like lower body action, and you're only rolling out or stretching like for 2 or 3 minutes or like a couple times a week, then you could definitely up that activity also.
Yep.
Next question.
Yep.
Okay. You're the boss. This is from Renee Brown from Davis, California.
It was so close to Brené Brown. She's going to be on our show one day.
Okay.
But Renee, I'm just as excited.
So she said, good morning.
Love it.
So I work nights. Have a generally irregular schedule and a high-stress job in the emergency department. She's got some stories. I find it really hard to stick to any sort of regimen, whether it be exercise or diet. I do well for a few weeks, but ultimately my schedule seems to kill my motivation. Any recommendations? Thanks.
I love it. This is how you control your time issue, which is, by the way, a problem that 99% of you all have. It's not a nutrition issue. It's a lack of boundaries with regards to your time and other things issue. But, you know, the reality is, Renee, is that we need more information about, you know, what your day looks like over a 24-hour span. And where are the gaps and what sacrifices do we have to make and in order to create more time for what matters, and you know how we can fill in those gaps. I would recommend that you reach out to Erin. Also, if you want, feel free to send us, you know, what a 24-hour, you know, span kind of like looks like. Because by the end of the day, you guys, how you spend your time tells us everything about how you live your life.
A lot of times people say, I don't have time. And it's frustrating because and it's very cliche to say, oh, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. But it's the truth. And, you know, really what happens is you spend your time on your priorities. And some people prioritize Instagram and Facebook mindlessly scrolling, not learning, not getting any kind of value. Like, you guys are listening to this, it's valuable to you. You're learning, you're getting educated, you're being motivated and inspired to move your life in a forward direction. That's positive time spent, right? However, a lot of people mindlessly scroll or sit on the couch on the weekends, Netflix and chilling, and then they say they don't have time. I'm like, yeah, you have time, you just have time to sit on the couch. You know, so really, if you want something bad enough, you find a way to get it. That's how we work as human beings.
Yeah, Renee, connect with Erin and see how we can help you, because we need to see, like, how you spend your time. Like, we need more information. Like,
but look, generally, I would say that just based off of the fact that she says, I find it really hard to stick to any sort of regimen.
Yep.
I do well for a few weeks. If you can do well for a few weeks, you can do well for the rest of your life. The problem is the strategy you're using probably just isn't a sustainable one. So that is where I would say the issue lies, is it goes back to the answer from intermittent fasting. If it's not something you feel you would be able to do for 10 years, it's not the right thing. It may be too much or too aggressive too soon. But a lot of people think they have to take this crazy, massive action and change everything and not eat a single carb and make sure they're in bed by 9, and make sure that they work out for 14 days a week, make sure, you know, they drink this amount of water, and make sure they log everything. And we just can't keep up. So you have to ask yourself, what are the things I'm doing? What are the changes I'm making? Because there could be very subtle, simple, non-overwhelming changes that you could be making and sticking to that are going to move you forward. The problem is just that, again, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, you've done some kind of keto or low carb or no carb or, you know, counting macros or something where it's like, yeah, of course you're not going to be able to stick to that with your schedule. Look, it doesn't matter how busy you are, how many things are going on in your life. It's life. And you have to learn how to manage so that you can reach your goals and keep your goals and keep moving forward, regardless of what's going on. You know, any conversation that I have with somebody on the phone who's interested in the inner circle, it's that same very conversation every time. Look, you tried to do too much too soon. That's why you have struggled. We need to teach you how to go step by step by step by step. What's the one thing that you can change that's going to have an impact that you know you could do every single day? Do it for 2 weeks, then find the next thing.
Yep. Reach out to us.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully that's helpful for some people, but definitely more details are helpful. Wow, we have the sister of our very own Coach Sarah Novick, Miss Ruthie from Philly. Okay, what are your strategies for dining out at restaurants and maintaining a healthy lifestyle? This is a great question, and we have not been asked.
That is a great question, Ruthie.
Who wants to know the answer to that? How do you dine out healthily?
So there's a lot of layers to it. Is the reality of it. And again, it always comes down to what is your intention, right? Like when you go out to eat, what is your intention, right? And also, it has a lot to do with the environment that you're in, and
which includes the actual restaurant and the people you're with.
Yep.
If anyone.
And where you're at in your journey, because you have a different tolerance level, right? Based off of where you're at. Somebody who's more advanced has a higher tolerance level with regards to making sacrifices versus somebody who's just starting out, right? So there's all these layers.
Meaning, I want to dissect that just so there's more clarity. Meaning that, and I think this is what you mean, the more tolerance you have, the better ability you have to be around foods and things that are not going to serve you and not be tempted to partake.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll tell you guys how we do it restaurant style. However, it's probably honestly too strict for most of you guys. For one,
but we can give you suggestions.
Yeah, like when we go out to eat, we simply go out to eat for the experience, not for the food, right?
Good food is a plus.
Food is a plus, 100%. However, when it comes to our food, what it comes down to is nobody knows your standards better than you know your standards. And restaurants do not fucking care about your body and health goals. All they care about is,
wanting you to come back.
Right? So I really hope that a good restaurant will have will make it by, giving you food that looks appealing, food that tastes great, and an amazing atmosphere, right? In fact, for us, when we go out to eat, atmosphere is the most important thing.
Well,
right?
Actually, okay, so I would say the first thing that we look at is the menu.
Yes.
Because if they only have shitty options, if we plan to eat, sometimes we'll just go to a restaurant simply to have a drink, so the food menu really doesn't matter. But if we're going out to eat, the first thing that we do is look at the menu.
Yep.
If they have shitty options, next, we're just not going to go.
Right. But normally a restaurant with nice atmosphere is not going to have shitty food. Though it is possible, so you're right. The quality of the food is option one, right? Are there, step number one is for one, are there a lot of dishes with vegetables, right?
What's the protein? What are the sources of protein? What are the things they put on the protein?
Yeah.
What are the sides that come with things? Are there good options for you that are going to align with your goals?
Yep.
That you're going to enjoy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the atmosphere, for us, atmosphere, yes. But if we're talking about, if it's just up to us, we never go to a restaurant that doesn't have good food choices. Mm-hmm. But then if it's involving other people, mm-hmm. and we have the option to choose the restaurant or make a suggestion, we absolutely will, because we want it to be where we want to go. Mm-hmm. Right? A lot of people just say, okay, where do you want to go? Oh, Claim Jumpers. Okay. And then you just go, and it's there's no good option. Mm-hmm. You're I'll have a side of broccolini with no butter. That'd be my dinner. It's just not. Everything's mashed potatoes and whatever. Anyways, always try to dictate where you go, basically, is what I'm saying. Uh-huh. And then, if it's for some kind of celebration where it's you're not choosing, it's a graduation or a birthday party for, someone in a family and you're going, that's when it's just going to come down to making the best option you possibly can. Mm-hmm. choosing the best option you possibly can. Now again, you get what you tolerate. So if you're going to a restaurant and you don't have good discipline and there's not a lot of good options, your chances of choosing the best option on the menu are slim. So, you know, sometimes it's better to just not put yourself in that environment until you're ready. You know, then when it comes to dessert and things like that, it's a matter of discipline.
Yeah.
Because every restaurant has dessert. And any good server will ask you if you want it.
Yeah. The reality is that, you know, when it comes to restaurants...
Yay, Ruthie, I'm glad you're here live.
When it comes to restaurants, you have to look at a couple of things. Quantity, quality, and also your tolerance level.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, somebody that I'm thinking about is our very own Kathy Uma. Right? And, you know, she admitted, she's like, you know, I'm addicted to sugar. So honestly, like any place that, you know, she's overcoming it, that, you know, that has a plethora of sugar. It's like, you know, it's like putting a bottle of Jameson in front of an alcoholic. Like, why would you want to do that? So you have to consider the quantity of food that you're eating, right? The quality of food that you're eating, and also where you're at, right? Like, for example, if you know that like cheesecake is your weakness and you have a specific goal, maybe going to the Cheesecake Factory is not something that, you know, you should do unless you're like, this is my birthday, and like for me, it will be the greatest thing if I, you know, get to celebrate by having a piece of cheesecake. So intention matters.
I have to say something.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it when you said Kathy Uma said that she was addicted to sugar. And in my head, the first thing I thought is nothing about that, but really there's a difference between being addicted to sugar and labeling yourself as a sugar addict.
Yes.
And somebody just commented and said also a sugar addict. And I was like, shit, I just thought about that. The more you label and the longer you label yourself and identify as a sugar addict, you will always forever be.
Yeah.
I don't believe anybody is an addict. I don't believe anybody is an addict. I believe we have problems with addiction.
Yes.
Because you have an addictive personality, and that's not a bad thing. It can be very good for you. However, I'm very passionate about this right now because I'm like, you're not an addict unless you say you are, and you will forever be.
Yeah. And you will forever struggle if you say you are.
But you may have a problem with an addiction, and that's okay. But when you have a problem with an addiction, you can overcome it. When you are an addict, you cannot.
Yep.
Difference.
Label.
I just called somebody out. But I love you. I did it from my heart. I did that from my heart. Okay. Next question. Maybe one or two more, depending on the depth of this next one. Daisy Davison, not Davidson. Davison. Can you say that again? I believe what you're saying is if you are addicted to sugar, you can overcome it. If you are a sugar addict, you cannot.
Yep.
If you struggle with addiction, it can be overcome. If you are defined as an addict by yourself or anybody else, tell them to fuck off.
Because mechanically, anything can be manipulated. Mechanically. However, if you are identifying as somebody, then you are not going to be willing to create the change. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you are identifying yourself as somebody who is stuck, guess what? You're going to be stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not to say too that like anybody who says, oh, I'm an addict is ill-intended, and they mean that. But what I want to do is help you to overcome. If you are identifying as an addict, to switch it. That's all. Just to switch the script and say, yeah, I struggle with sugar addiction. But that way, your brain knows you can overcome it. If you say, this is who I am, you are going to be that. Because then your actions will align with who you identify as.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you'll struggle forever. So yeah, like, yeah. if you've been diagnosed with an addictive personality, look, there's so many diagnoses that I don't think need to be diagnosed. ADD, ADHD. It's called a kid with a short attention span because kids have fucking short attention span.
Look,
and people say you have ADD and then they give you medication and then fucks you up as you get into an adult. And they're like, oh, you have a problem because you have ADD. No, like I'm a kid and I just can't fucking stay focused.
Anything can be changed. The problem is when people get diagnosed, they choose to label themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
and they believe it. And they believe it, right? And that's why so many people who start getting hypertension, right, like getting sucked into this, you know, like really nasty and sad down spiral of heart disease, because they've been diagnosed for having hypertension. Yes, you can reverse that shit.
I have hypothyroidism.
But if you identify yourself as that one, then that's it. You've chosen to accept it, and therefore you're not going to choose to get out of it. Mechanically, anything can be reversed. Anything can be changed, right? But if you believe it, that you are something, then you're going to be forever stuck. And I feel like for many people who are watching this, that's probably one of your biggest issues.
It's the same thing. If you say you can or you say you can't, you're right.
Yeah.
If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. It's the same thing. It's the same principle. And we get really passionate. And we're not saying like, you know, anybody's... Look, this is the same thing with like hereditary dysfunctions and things like that. Autism is a real thing. 100%. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to try to dig deep and dive into somebody's brain and subconscious and behaviors and all this stuff to know that somebody's autistic. It's clear as day. And that person means just as much in this world as anybody else. And they're probably really fucking good at playing the piano or
you know what
something.
What
singing.
I wanted to say, what I actually really love about, you know, people with autism. Again,
they
people
love hard.
With, I'm not identifying. Also, they don't give a fuck.
They're
so courageous and they don't give a fuck.
It's amazing.
Right? Like the doctor labels them, their mom probably labels them.
They have a gift. They have a gift of
not giving
no
a fuck. And that's why they're so good at what they do. Because you guys, just because you've been labeled something doesn't mean that you're doomed.
Unless
you're
you
doomed
label
because
yourself.
you choose to believe that shit.
Yeah.
Be inspired by an autistic person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in fact, if you've been diagnosed to have an addictive personality by a stupid doctor, right, then you're welcome. Having an addictive personality is the greatest thing ever. However, most of y'all are just choosing to be addicted to terrible things. What if you were addicted to changing the world? I'm addicted to changing the world. I have an extremely addictive personality, right? When I didn't know how to control it, I was addicted to chocolate. I was addicted to peanut butter, right? Amongst other terrible things. If you have an addictive personality, you're going to have an addictive personality. You just have to choose to be addicted to something positive, to make something positive out of it.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
you know, that is the problem with the medical society. And if you're an MD, you know, I'm sending you a lot of love and gratitude because conventional medicine is helping a lot. But because of all these theories and all these tests, they love to fit people into a box. And you guys, don't ever allow somebody to put you in a fucking box, because when you're being put into a box, you're labeling yourself, and if you put the words "I am" in front of this, you're doomed. That's it. End of story.
Maybe not doomed if it's a good thing.
Right, but most of the time it's a bad thing.
MJ asked a good question. So you believe that someone struggled with drug and alcohol addiction can become someone who does not identify as an addict? Absolutely.
Yes, and we know these people.
Because you choose what you identify as.
Yep.
Men who want to be women identify as women. That's their choice.
Yep.
Right? So it's the same thing. It's just some struggles are more difficult than other struggles. And addiction is a difficult struggle. That's no lie.
Yep.
So
can you get out of it? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Daisy. Mm-hmm. Should I still eat even if I'm not hungry? Sometimes my breakfast at 7 a.m. keeps me full until I eat lunch at noon, since I'm just sitting at my desk and working.
So that means like avoiding a snack?
I think there's some missing pieces here.
Yeah.
But when I first read this, should I still eat even if I'm not hungry? Has somebody told you to eat more?
So the reality is that for each and every one of you guys, yeah, you're right, there's a lot of missing pieces. But for each and every one of you guys, you have to follow a specific meal structure and you have to be consistent with your meals, right? Snacks are always optional, right? Like nobody should ever make snacks be a mandatory thing, right? So like if let's say if you're not hungry for a snack, don't fucking eat the snack. However, if you go into lunch and you're not hungry, you should eat that lunch for a few reasons. For one, because you wanna keep the fire burning, right? Like, so think about your metabolism like the fire.
Wait, Daisy's one of ours. Doctor's orders to eat 6 times a day.
Oh, that's right, because of yeah. So
you happen to know.
So for her, great. Like again, like you are following a specific structure, which is great. However, if you're not feeling hungry, then don't feel obligated to finish your meal. Each and every one of y'all should follow a specific structure. However, if going into your next meal, you're not hungry, like don't feel obligated to finish it. That's it.
Emily said, does the doctor have a nutrition background? Sarit's the doctor.
Most doctors do not have a
Sarit's
nutrition
Sarit
background.
just so happens to be Daisy's doctor, though.
No. She actually,
like her actual doctor?
She does. Yes. She
Oh,
does.
I thought she was referring to you as the doctor.
No.
That's funny.
No.
Okay, just kidding.
No.
So here's number 1. Always why. Always what's the purpose of it. If there is a legitimate, understood purpose,
there is.
Then yes, do your best to follow through.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I just need to eat 6 times a day because I read it on Google, but you're not hungry, don't force yourself to eat if there's not an actual specific reason for you to be doing that. Mm-hmm. Because it makes me think of when we went, one of the times we went to Israel, and it was Rosh Hashanah, and we were in the Dead Sea, and we were at that hotel, and they would do breakfast and dinner at the hotel, right? And they were massive meals. But here's the thing, because we ate so much at breakfast, we didn't need to eat until dinner.
Yeah.
Right? So in that case, we would only eat twice a day. Now, is that something we'd recommend all the time? Maybe, if it works for you. But at the same time, you have to know what is the energy balance. It's always about an energy balance. Mm-hmm.
And adapting yourself to the environment that you're in.
And some people are not hungry because their metabolism is shit. And so in order to speed up your metabolism, you have to get food in there. Because what happens a lot of times is that your body doesn't trust that you're going to give it food because you've been so inconsistent in your eating patterns that it doesn't know what the fuck you're going to do.
Yeah.
So it wants to save and store everything. Your metabolism drops. Your body's not burning or using a lot of energy. So you don't feel as hungry when you do start to eat. But, and Stacy, as a type 1 diabetic, there's some instances where that's necessary for you to be eating regularly, even if you're not hungry. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes, if you're, if there's no medical concerns at the moment, there's no reason you should have to eat that many times a day and just force yourself to it.
Mm-hmm. But each and every one of you guys should be consistent with some sort of eating structure. And that does not mean 1 meal a day. Right? It means a few consistent meals per day. You want to go one more? Let's go one more.
We can't.
Okay.
We can't go one more today. But that's because this has to go to YouTube and you guys have to get it in your email.
Sure.
And who does that? Media and tech department. So, because I want to close up and have some time to close up too. If you guys do have questions, I think there were a couple more questions asked in here as well. But if you didn't see the beginning of this live, then go back or you don't have to go back, but you can go to the Erin Sarit public group page. And there is a link that you can click on with a very short questionnaire where you can submit your questions. And every Tuesday we answer questions, and it's really fun. I think it's one of my favorite days.
Q&A day.
I think it's one of my favorite out of my 5 favorites.
Yeah, I really like it too. We are very passionate. What did I want to say? I don't remember. Yeah.
Merchandise is up for grabs. I think like 20 of you ordered yesterday, which is freaking cool. Y'all went buck wild. Okay, so that's erinsarit.com.
You guys, we need your help. This Facebook page almost has 5,000 people, but our YouTube has half that amount.
Not even.
Not even.
Has 2K.
Like, we need your help. Can you please subscribe to our YouTube channel?
Can you please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and can you share one of our videos and say, oh my God, if you haven't subscribed to these girls, they're the shit. Only if you believe it.
Yes.
Go subscribe to their channel because you're missing out.
Please subscribe. That way, more people on YouTube can see that video when they're like, how to lose weight fast. How to intermittent fast.
Thank you for all of you who are subscribed.
Yes.
And thank you for all of you who are going to subscribe.
Yes.
And share with your friends. We really truly are grateful for every single person. But the reason that we want to see that number go up is because we want to know we're making an impact. And the way that we know we're making an impact is when we see those numbers go up.
Yeah.
Because we know there's more people watching and there's more people engaging. And there is so much freaking free help. Everything we do in the inner circle, not everything that we do, but all of our philosophies that we teach can be found on freaking YouTube.
Yeah.
For free. The problem is that we often get stuck in our own way, and that is the value of the inner circle. It's because we're like, all these things, and I don't know, and then we think we know better, and then, yeah. Anyways, so there's so much valuable information on there, and the way that we know we're really making the impact that we desire is by seeing that number go up. So, if you do watch, please subscribe. If you do love what you hear, if you do find a lot of value, if we have helped you to transform your body or your mind or your behaviors or your lifestyle or your finances or anything, your relationship, please do us a favor. And all we ask is that you share it with somebody else. That's all.
100%. Also, the higher our numbers on YouTube, the more YouTube shows our videos to other people who are just looking up.
True.
Whatever they're looking up, which let's face it, if they're looking up how to intermittent fast, I'm like, bitch, you're lost.
I want us to pop
because you're the magic, not intermittent fasting.
And if you ever see us hashtag something like lose weight fast, it's because we want the people who are searching lose weight fast to fucking find us. Because they need to hear the truth.
Right. Right. Let's go. Amazing. But the reality is that we do help people to lose weight fast. The reality is if you're, if you are all in and you're consistent, you're going to lose weight fast. Also, if you're breaking a cycle where you've been doing this for 20 years and finally you're like steady, guess what?
Even if it takes you a year.
Fast because you're going in a forward trajectory, right?
Even if it takes you a year to lose 40 pounds.
Yeah. You just
you keep it off. Then that means you don't have to struggle anymore. And it was much faster than the last 10 years that you've struggled.
And you're 10 years ahead. It's just the reality of it.
It's truth. The real kind of fast. Hey, Tammy, thanks for sharing. I believe that is our YouTube channel. I got to figure out how to make it say youtube.com/Erin Sarit or something. I don't know. The details.
Cool. Well, you guys, we hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which is our Wealth Day, where we're going to be talking about money and your finances. By the way, for anybody who responded to the poll last week, I appreciate you, because this is really, like, you guys, we have a show schedule, and based off of where you're at in your journey, it helps us to, you know, put together episodes that are relevant to you. Because what is the point of us putting together episodes if they're irrelevant? So thank you for being honest. Thank you for, you know, telling us what your financial situation is, because, you know, putting together September's and October's schedule was based off of your feedback. Because remember this, we're here to help you. That is why we show up each and every day. That's why we wake up at 4 a.m. for you guys. Why? Because we are on a mission to transform the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, lifestyle, and financial habits that have transformed ours. And the reality is that we want you to come up with us. Now, whether you're willing to come up with us is your choice. However, by the end of the day, we know that we're showing up for you each and every day. So we hope that you choose to come up. Hopefully, if you found today's episode valuable, then please do us a favor and share it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I will say this again, please hit the subscribe button so more people can hear this message. Other than that, we hope that you guys have an amazing day, and we will see you guys on the flip side tomorrow, hump day, 6:30 a.m. Bye. Bye. Oh my gosh. It's so weird.